Alright, so this is my Secret Invasion episode 5 review, and it begins with Fury as the president is being wheeled into surgery. He's trying to tell the president that Rhodey is a Skrull. So he keeps saying it, and then we see Rhodey approach Fury after Ritson is wheeled into surgery, and Fury attacks Rhodey, and Rhodey is just happily telling Fury, how he's just needling him, and Fury's he's like, yeah, you're the only way you're going to be able to show these guys that I'm a Skrull is if you kill me. Not true. We have seen Sonya get Skrulls to reveal that they're Skrulls just by injuring them. She didn't have to kill them. So Fury could have just tortured him. Unless, obviously the easiest way is to kill them, because then you don't have to worry about whether the torture will work. So there is that. Does Fury want to risk whatever he does to Rhodey not working? So I guess that's why Fury accepts that the only way to out Rhodey is to kill him. And so Rhodey's like, oh, and by the way, I released the video that shows you killing Maria Hill. Now, my question about that is, I'm sorry, what? People are just going to automatically, Nick Fury. Now, probably the general public won't have any clue what's going on, but the Secret Service, law enforcement, I would think most, if not all, have heard of Nick Fury. He's not an unknown quantity. So, I don't know, if I was a member of the Secret Service especially, I wouldn't just automatically assume that Nick Fury is a bad guy. I would want proof of that. Kind of the way Rhodey is goading Fury into killing him, because that's the only way that they'll see that he's a Skrull. Well, why are you so quick to believe that Fury is a bad guy? In theory, these are people who should know better. Anyway, before Rhodey got to the hospital, Gravik is showing that he's completely losing his mind. If he hadn't completely lost his mind before this. So, Gravik is accusing Pagan of being the reason why their attempt to start World War III failed. And Pagan points out, you had so many opportunities to kill Fury. Why aren't you killing Fury? Now, if he was sane, he would have said, oh, it's because I need him. I need him alive because I need such and such. He doesn't even have to say it's the harvest. He can just simply say that I need him to help perfect my Super Skrull machine or something. Or just, I still need him. Maybe that would be enough. I don't know. But what does he do? He kills Pagan and basically tells all the Skrulls that you do not matter to me one whit. I'm just using you to get what I want. And you guys never actually mattered to me. I don't give a rat's ass about you guys and how many survive, and I just want what I want, which is he wants to become the ultimate Super Skrull. This idea of New Skrullos was a bunch of bullshit. He just wanted the Skrulls to follow him so he could get more power. That is simply all he wanted. So, and it actually shocked me at how quickly he killed Pagan. It really did, but it's obvious that he has, to say that he's power hungry is being too generous. He is completely off his rocker. So, Beto turns to him and says that you're a monster, which I'm glad you finally figured that out. I'm still waiting for Beto to do something, to not just be basically a background player. I mean, he is a named actor. They have him named as one of the stars of the show. So, do something. Be more than a background character. Well, he ended up becoming more than a background character. But anyway, so Rhodey calls Gravik, and Gravik tells him that he needs to convince the president to attack New Skrullos. And the reason he needs to attack New Skrullos is he wants to get Nick Fury into this impossible situation where he gives him the harvest. And so even Rhodey is like, wait a minute, what? You want me to do what? Are you insane? And the answer is yes. Yes, he is. And we find out that Rhodey's name is Ravik. So we finally have a name to the Skrull. And now, because the Skrull is female, because she was way too excited about bringing down Nick Fury, it makes me wonder, who is she? She obviously has to have a past with Fury. Not just one of those nameless Skrulls who are just patiently waiting for a home. This has to be more personal, because otherwise, why would she be absolutely giddy at the prospect of screwing over Fury? So I'm really curious who this Ravik is. But anyway, so Rhodey, first we see Sonya Falson. She attacks the Skrull. Of course, someone attempts to stop her. The security forces attempt to stop her, which, yeah, that's not happening. And she's like, oh, look, he's a Skrull. I mean, I love her so much. I know she's supposed to be the British version of Val. I like this version so much better than Val. She's got, I think someone even said it. She has chutzpah. She's fun. Val does have that in her, just not as out there. I could see that if you were her enemy, this would be just horrifying. But anyway, so she finds out that where New Skrullos is. And she finds out what she needs to know. And she gives that information to Rhodey, because she doesn't know that Rhodey is a Skrull, which is fascinating, which makes me wonder how she knew that Weatherby was a Skrull. And my guess is she noticed that he's acting different. Even if it's ever so slightly. She probably figured it out. She doesn't know who Rhodey is. She's probably never met the guy. So she has no reason to know that he's a Skrull. So, Rhodey is, like I said, goading Fury that he's the most wanted man in the planet, blah, blah, blah. And of course, everybody kept going on about how he's washed up, and he's slowly showing everybody he is anything but washed up. So, and I'll get to the Vara and, well, actually, I can do that now. So, Fury goes to his hideout before he meets with Sonya. He goes to his hideout, and he notices that somebody had entered in there. So, of course, he takes out his gun, and it's Gaia. Now, at this point, does she know her father's dead? Because Fury started with, your father died, and I think he was going to say your father died a hero or something. And she was like, you could just stop there at, my father died. She didn't seem surprised. She didn't seem shocked. She didn't seem upset. Well, upset maybe. But, she wasn't doing the things that you normally associate with someone finding out that a loved one died. So, did she already know before she got there? And then the question is, how did she know? Because we have seen in the trailers her crying over his dead body while he was still on the battlefield. So, did they just cut that out? Anyway, so Fury tells her that Vara could help her. That Vara could help her bury Talos. So she goes to and she calls her Professor Davis. Now, was I completely mistaken this whole time thinking she's a medical doctor? Or if she's a medical doctor but also an academic? Or, like I said, she's a PhD and not an MD. But anyway, so she comes, she's not getting a response, so she takes her gun out. Now, my question is, did Fury give her the address, or did she happen to know about this house? But anyway, so she goes to visit Dr. Davis, and Vara puts a gun on her and says, "Are you here to exterminate me?" And at first I didn't understand this response. She goes, "My name is Gaia," or "I'm Gaia." And then I realized she was there in 97, 98, whenever that clandestine meeting took place when Fury said, "I'll help you, but in the meantime, you help me." So it's one of those that even if she was a Skrull, in her Skrull form, there's no reason for Vara to know who she is, because she was a child when she probably last saw her. So they start talking about Fury and why Vara wanted this house. She was hoping that Fury would spend more time at home with her, which of course didn't happen. This is the most patient woman in the history of the universe, that she's willing to put up with all this crap. Because it's obvious Fury loves her. I mean, do not get me wrong. It's obvious he loves her, but it seems like he prefers being anywhere else. And I think it's just simply he's one of those people who can't sit still for any length of time. But then again, he was on Saber for years. So, makes me wonder what the hell he was doing up there for all this time. But anyway, so they're talking, and Gaia says something which upsets Vara. She's saying how she wants to spend time with Fury, how much she loves Fury, blah blah blah. And she's like, has he ever loved you in your own skin? Now, this is just frustration on Gaia's part. This idea that she just desperately wants to be Gaia. She doesn't want to be a human female. She wants to be a Skrull. And I can't even begin to understand what that must be like. I mean, granted, there are members of the LGBT plus community that feel that way, that they have to put on a face to make it seem like they're not who they really are because of persecution. So I do understand that part, but personally, I have never had to do that. I've always been me, and even though I only recently learned the term asexual, I was always me, and nobody had a problem with it. Well, some people did, but they were nobody I would actually care about, So I do have some understanding, but I just can't imagine what it must be like to every day of your life not be able to live how you really are. You always have to put a mask on because society wouldn't accept you otherwise. So, oh, and I forgot to mention, while Rhodey is in Ritzen's hospital room, he's trying to convince Ritson to attack New Skrullos. And the reason is that it's either that or World War III. And, that the Skrulls will wipe them out. And Ritson's like, you're asking for World War III. And he goes, well, that's better than Skrulls wiping us out. And Ritson's looking at him like, have you lost your goddamn mind? If we have World War III, we're wiping ourselves out. It's either the Skrulls wiping us out or us wiping ourselves out. We're going to get wiped out. So, or as I've heard people say, that maybe he did hear Fury when he said that Rhodey is a Skrull. So it's more a combination of he's a Skrull, and oh, by the way, he's way too excited about us wiping ourselves out. So, So anyway, back to Gaia and Vara. So they're talking, and Vara said that this house has everything that Fury likes. It has light, it has fortifications, it's out of the way. So obviously this place is built like Fort Knox, is how I understood it. And as they're talking, they get attacked by people rappelling through the roof. Now, being that, number one, it's Vara. She's married to Fury, so you know that she's a badass because, I mean, come on. And because she's married to Fury, it shouldn't surprise you that in their, what looks like a greenhouse, there is an arsenal of weapons, because of course there is. This is Fury. He has contingencies upon contingencies. Of course he's going to, keep his wife safe. I mean, come on. So between Vara and Gaia, they take care of all the Skrulls. And then Vara and Gaia go to bury Talos, and just like Maria Hill, the camera is constantly on Talos's body. So you see that Talos is dead, which is a bummer because I love Ben Mendelsohn. Even though he and Fury were arguing like an old married couple this entire series, which is hilarious, but still, that's why I love him. He's willing to not sit back and take Fury's shit. He's going to stand up for himself and for other Skrulls and be like, no, 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 no. He's not going to take his shit. And I just loved it. So the fact that he's dead is so disheartening. But anyway, so he he's permadead. They take him somewhere next to a body of water, I guess, and they burn him. And they set him on fire, Viking funeral. And so yeah, the writers want you to know that Talos is dead. Now, I guess because he was in a sheet, technically you could say there could still be some switcheroo business going on. I mean, this is comics. But no, I think they're going out of their way to telling you he's dead. He's permadead. Which, like I said, sucks. But between the fact that Skrulls are shapeshifters and the fact that the multiverse exists, I guess you could always bring Talos back. But anyway, so they then part ways, it seems. And I didn't catch where Gaia was going. I don't know if she was going back to New Skrullos or going back to find Fury or what was happening. And so speaking of Fury, he is talking with Gravik. Oh wait, let me back up. No, I'll do this first one. So he's talking with Gravik. Gravik wants the harvest. So Fury then boards a private jet. And he is chatting with Gravik, and he's like, I'm always a step behind you. And actually Gravik said, you're always a step ahead of me. And he's like, oh, I would need rocket fuel to keep ahead of you. So he's really trying to make Gravik feel overconfident that he's actually beat Fury. Gravik is not falling for that, though, because he's not an idiot. So, he then tries, he's chatting with Gravik, and Gravik says he wants the harvest, and then he boards his private jet, and we see Mason, which, that was a pleasant surprise. I like Mason. I hope they find a reason to use him more. And Mason is apparently flying the plane, or is he just giving Fury something? That part I was a little unsure of, but it could be he also flies the plane. I wouldn't be surprised. For those who don't know, he's a callback to the Black Widow movie. He was Natasha's tech guy. But anyway, so Fury lands in Finland, and he meets up with, first he has to get through security. He pretends to be someone else because, again, Fury's not an idiot. He's not going to just waltz in as Fury because he's like the world's most wanted fugitive. So he then meets up with Sonya. He tells Sonya that, oh, by the way, Rhodey is a Skrull, and she's like, wait, what? And so she immediately is shocked and pissed at all that's happening. So she takes Fury to his gravesite. And apparently he has a whole bunch of them because, in his words, a guy needs options. I love him so much. So he's just talking about the harvest and what the harvest is, which is the DNA of every Avenger, including Carol Danvers. Which, it just surprised me that he didn't say Captain Marvel. He said Carol Danvers. So, does the public know all these secret identities, or is it just simply because Sonya Falsworth is a member of the British Secret Service? I don't know, but I just found that interesting that he said Carol Danvers, not Captain Marvel, and that Gravik was amongst those sent to clean everything up and put it in a safe space. So he gave it to Nick Fury to put it in a safe space so people couldn't get the DNA, which harkens back to She-Hulk, where Bruce Banner made a huge stink about how we need to always destroy our blood. If our blood gets out, we need to destroy any samples because we cannot afford somebody just getting into the wrong hands. So, the fact that Nick Fury has it stored anywhere would be a surprise, which is why I think that's bullshit. I don't think he has it stored anywhere. But they go to his gravesite. He, puts his eye patch back on, which basically says he's back, baby. He puts the eye patch on, and he gets ready to meet with Gravik. And Gravik tells him to bring iodine pills because the reactor can be a little wonky. Now, Fury said that there are humans living there as well, which, why? I don't know. Do they have a lifetime supply of iodine pills? I do not understand that. But anyway, he's telling Sonya about, that the reason it's here is because Finland's where he had his honeymoon, because Skrulls like the cold. Which shocked the hell out of me that he actually told her that. And she's shocked. She's like, wait a minute. I honestly thought she was going to start thinking he's a Skrull. That this isn't Nick Fury. But she obviously knows Nick Fury well enough to know that nobody can actually 100% impersonate Nick Fury if you know him well enough, as Sonya obviously does, because if she would know if this wasn't the real Nick Fury. So she just was, so this is her surprise and her realization that not all Skrulls are bad. Because up to this point, she just hated Skrulls. Which, if you're being told that Skrulls are infiltrating seats of power for their own nefarious purposes, then yeah, you probably wouldn't realize that there are good Skrulls, because why would you? Those are the only ones you've heard of. So now she understands that not all Skrulls are bad, and why Nick Fury takes this personally. Because not only was he in charge of helping Gravik, and so Gravik's decline into absolute insanity, Nick Fury feels personally responsible for, but also because he sees Skrulls as not necessarily his people, but because he promised he would find them a home. He's married to one now. He's part of their culture. There was Talos and now Gaia. He cares about many, many Skrulls. So, yeah. So now Sonia understands that things aren't black and white. Now, I'm just wondering if Val was in this position of finding out that Nick Fury's wife is a Skrull, if she would have reacted like Sonia did. Now, also, there is the fact that I don't think Val has the history with him that Sonia has, just based on this show. But I wonder if she wouldn't just try to kill Nick Fury on sight thinking he's a Skrull or something, or some sort of traitor, because, that's what she did with Everett Ross, because he dared to actually, have the nuance that there's more to this than what you think you know. So because Val apparently doesn't want to be hampered by nuanced thinking. So yeah, which makes me think that Sonia is a lot smarter than Val. But anyway, so he heads off to meet with Gravik, and that's basically how it ends. But there is one last issue to deal with, and that's Beto and the rest of the Skrulls. So these warriors who initially were working for him and, were totally into the cause are realizing that what they thought was the cause was not what Gravik wants. He wants something else. They might not necessarily know what it is yet. They might not, or maybe they do understand that he just wants to become a super Skrull and he doesn't give a shit about the rest of the Skrulls. Maybe they already know that. So Beto and the others. So it's like, yay, Beto finally does something. They attack Gravik. And they're no match for Gravik because he's a super Skrull at this point. So he takes them on. And just as an aside, I only caught bits and pieces of this, but doesn't Beto look a little bit like a good combination of Vara and Fury? So either they want you to think he's Nick Fury Jr., or it just so happens it's a happy accident. But so, oh my god. So he takes out everybody. For some reason, he takes Beto out in front of the what you could call normal Skrulls. The ones who not only are not warriors but are just living their life chilling on New Skrullos, because all they want is a home. They really don't care about this political intrigue shit. And he slits Beto's throat. Now, unlike Maria Hill and Talos, they did not linger on his dead body. They just show him down on the ground, but it's brief. And then they pan away and follow Gravik. Or it faded to black then. Now I can't remember. So I question whether Beto is really dead. Now, how in the world he would survive? Because maybe just like Gaia, he got some extremis powers that he figured the shit out because he's not an idiot. He's not the shy, reserved, I just want to live my life as a Skrull that he's making it out to be. Or he came in already being able to do stuff. We don't know. We do not know yet. Hopefully we'll find out who Beto is next episode. Because like I said, to have him have this extremely slow burn that he was practically a background character, to have him die this way, to just have his character fizzle, it's just not very satisfying. So hopefully, Now, we saw in other trailers where Gravik goes basically Hulk. He hulks out on Fury when Fury meets him at the reactor. So I wonder if Beto is going to save him. Whether Fury is his father or not, I wonder if he's going to manage to save him. Because like I said, I'm not completely convinced he's dead. Because they didn't linger on the dead body at all. So, let's see if there's anything else from this episode I wanted to mention. I think I covered everything. So, with that, I will see you guys for the last episode.